Okay na, ma'am. Stretching muna.
Stretch to the bones. Me. Welcome to the Sky Podcast.
When I had a voice lesson.
Yes.
A voice lesson.
You only had one. You survived one hour.
This was before Artista Days. Like, we tried it out lang, me and my friends. And she taught us that. Like, parang, me. Yung mga ganyan, yung mga warm up. Like, di ba, they teach you, like, kailangan malaki yung bibig. Like, oh, this is so corny. No one's ever going to do this.
But they do it all the time, singers.
Oh, yeah. That's why I was so surprised when I was in showbiz na and I was in like ASAP or just before a concert na parang extra ako sa likod or whatever. Sila lahat like, Mami, mamu, or whatever.
No
Like, whoa, culture shock bigla.
Did you ever have like voice, like a music class in high school or something? Because we did that in high school.
Yeah, meron, but there's like, you just sing. You don't really take it seriously. It's like PE. You don't take it seriously.
Kami, we had like that, ha? Like me.
Yeah, we had that.
You had it
Like,
also.
Do, re, mi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God. Wala talaga tayong pag-asa maging singer.
Yeah, and even mga
Let's let it
hostings.
go.
Mga hostings, meron din yung mga parang nangunguya
like,
ka ng malaking bubble gum.
Loosen up your jaw so you don't stutter.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Even in acting, meron mga tongue twisters.
So we should do that before our podcast.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Wow, watermelon.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather.
Red
Red
leather,
leather,
yellow
yellow leather. Red, yellow, yeah. It's a tongue twister.
Minikaniko ni Monica ang makina ni Monico.
What?
Minikaniko ni Monico ang mekanika ni Monica.
Minikaniko ni Monica.
Minikaniko ni Monico.
Minikaniko ni Monico.
Ang
I was going to say ang harmonica ni Monica. I have never heard of that before, but okay.
It's grabe the more you like realize that there's so much going on in the world. There's so many types of personalities. Like parang I used to call it corny, but in the industry where all the best singers and all the professionals live and like work, ganyan, it's the norm.
Hater ka lang dati because you didn't know much about it. So akala mo like no one really did it. It's just for the lesson, whatever.
Yeah, so I think it's like partly, baka mga haters are partly, it's because of ignorance also.
Yeah,
and non-acceptance.
Lack of openness, lack of knowledge, basically. Ignorance, yeah. That's so correct. Sometimes kasi parang we're so at war with the unfamiliar. Parang we think kasi that what we know really like makes up the world already. So if there's somebody that does something that's different from what we know, different from what we're familiar with, parang there's a war inside of us, like an internal war. Like, why is that happening? That's not supposed to be. Especially if it comes to kids. Like, for example, why are you, for example, now that we're feeding Scott solids, like baby-led weaning style, a lot of old school people will say na, uy, the baby's gonna choke. Why are you feeding him solids already? It's because obviously they're old na. They didn't research ano yung uso ngayon, which is feeding baby solids. There's a new research, ganyan, like new theory. So parang, it's not all bad, you know, like we have to give people who say things a benefit of the doubt. You know where I'm getting at. Yeah.
Pero napansin ko, you really can't change a person like by force. Kailangan siya ng patience. If you have someone in your life that sabihin natin lazy or like gusto mo to do something else or to do things differently, you can't change it by will and by force.
I don't think you can ever change people, can you?
I don't know. That's yun sa isip ko. Like whenever I try to like correct people, ikaw pa yung magmukhang
masama.
Yes.
Right.
Unless there are other people na sobrang open to change
criticism
and criticism.
Like constructive criticism.
Yes, but meron talaga parang limit.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for someone to change unless they themselves see the problem and like want to change themselves. Otherwise, parang it's weird if you just come into my life suddenly and say like, hey, you're doing it wrong. It's supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be like that. But the first reaction would be to put up your wall, right? Defense agad.
Defense, and then
Denial.
resent ka pa.
Yeah.
And then lalo mo
Anger.
pang like parang because of your pride has been like threatened.
Natamaan.
Mas lalo mo pang panindigan.
Right.
I think it's
I'm
also
not like that. What is he talking about? He doesn't know anything.
Yes, just like how couples fight. Like, because you're this. No, because you. And after a while, this was very much me. Like before we met, like I know I'm wrong na. It's just a matter of winning the argument na lang.
Right. Because
Ganyan.
it's your, like, nasimulan mo na eh. Like, you started already
panindigan
being so
ko na to.
angry. Yeah, like, you can't back down now.
Oh, that's also why ngayon, kahit in the office or when it comes to work and there's like misunderstandings, I always ask a question first. Parang tinatanong ko, why did you do it this way?
Right.
Because I used to say, you did it this way, patay ka sa akin.
Yeah, that's wrong. Why did you do it? That's against the rules. La la la.
Number one, they either shut up, or number two, palaw. Or what's palaw in... Parang you get
slap in the
embarrassed
face,
because meron silang, sir, I did it this way, sir, because you remember you actually told me. Di ba? So parang, nakakahiya.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard when you've had that commitment of like ganyan na level.
Mahirap na ibawi.
Yes.
Pag nakabuelo ka na.
Yes.
No, kailangan may preno. Like, back it up.
Naalala ko dati, when I used to work for my dad, one of my tasks was to walk around the shop, yung warehouse namin, and just to inspect. And I saw someone sleeping. Sobrang galit na galit ako sa kanya. Tumawag ako sa dad ko. Like, Dad, I want this person out. Ganyan
so
na level agad.
Okay.
Like, it came with inexperience.
Right. Of course, when we're younger, we don't know any better.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of people in our lives that we kind of feel like we want to change, but maybe, then this is like a realization lang right now. Maybe it's just we're putting our standards to their standards.
Right. We're expecting something that we want to happen.
Or if we were in their shoes, this is what I would do. This was their...
Iba rin yung expectation nila sa atin.
Yeah. Oh, and sila baka sa kanila is masaya na sila sa ginagawa nila.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say who's right or wrong, right? For example, let's say I know someone na if he gets bad service in a restaurant, he will yell at the waiters, really like get mad at the people serving him, because for him, in his head, that's their job, to serve me. That's what they're paid for.
Ooh.
Yeah, so for me, that's super no-no kasi I'm really not like that and I wasn't raised like that. Pero to him, opposite. Like to him, like, why are you a pushover? Ako yung nagkamali. Diba? Why are you accepting? You're wrong because you're training the waiter to be a slacker. I'm training him.
Ay, kung gagawin yun, baka duduraan yung pagkain ko.
Yeah. But it's just a difference in perspective. Like for me, I would never scream at a waiter just for doing a bad job because iba yung values ko. For me, tao pa rin siya. For me, like, it's not a big deal. Pero for other people, big deal siya. Lesson siya. Like, iba-iba talaga the way of looking at things.
And there's also people that go around that kailangan turuan ko sila lahat.
But then you just come off as an asshole. Like, what makes you the king?
The king.
Bakit ikaw yung teacher? Wala ka bang mali? Diba?
What I cannot handle though is when the person says, this is everything wrong with my life. And he or she sees it. And she knows exactly what to do about it. Pero hindi niya ginagawa.
Why? Scared?
Like, hindi ko la alam. Meron talaga mga ganyan, di ba?
It's just like, when some friends tell you, like, I really need to break up with my boyfriend na or my girlfriend na. Such a toxic relationship. And then you're there like, yes, finally you understand. Do this. And then 2 years later, they're still together.
Yeah.
And then ikaw na yung bad friend. This happened to me a lot when I was younger.
Really?
Yeah. Not to me, but my friends when I was younger. Ako yung taga-bigay ng advice. Tapos, 2 years later, oh no, they're still together. I gave the bad advice. Like, nakakahiya. Now they hate me. Ganyan.
Yun yung pinakaayaw ko when two friends especially break up.
Yeah.
And meron akong...
becomes awkward in the barkada.
Oo. And meron akong one instance na tinawagan ako sa girl na, hey, what do you know about the guy?
Is he cheating on me?
Is he cheating on me? So you're like, I don't know.
Don't ask me.
No idea why you're putting me in the middle. Pero yung I don't know, yun na yun.
Yeah. That's sad. But I would, like, if I was a girl, I would want to know.
Have you ever been cheated on?
Not really. Like I think it was an emotional cheating more than anything else.
What's an emotional
Like, I guess nothing really happened, but like, it was getting there. You know what I mean? So there's like an emotional aspect, but nothing really happened. I don't know if you consider that cheating, but I think at the time, I was kind of over the relationship already. So it was more of my pride lang na nasaktan. How
What
about
defines cheating for you?
Like when you have to hide something from your partner. When you have to, parang kung nahiya ka na sa ginagawa mo, cheating na yun.
May magandang explanation sa cheating is, yung narinig ko is, if the person was right there in front of you,
Would you still do it?
Would you still do it?
Right.
Yeah. Ako, I feel like, yeah, I think I've been cheated on, but I don't know to what extent.
You don't know the details.
I don't know the details. And then
Nalaman mo na
naghiwalay
lang
kami.
after the fact.
After the fact. After naghiwalay kami. Alam mo yung,
doon mo lang nalaman.
Oo.
Oh.
After naghiwalay ka sa partner mo, dun talaga lumalabas lahat ng mga kwento eh. Like they're afraid to tell you when you're with the
Together.
person pa. Oo.
I
Kasi
didn't
they
experience
don't
that.
want to be placed in a bad spot also.
So how did you feel? Like, you already broke up and then you find that out. Like, did you feel like, okay, I made the right choice? Or did you feel even more heartbroken? Or like, how did it affect you?
How did? Parang at that time that I realized, I was in denial. So kahit sinabi ng friend ko, oh, this is the details, like,
May proof.
sobrang clear na. And my friend told me, please don't tell your girlfriend. So sobrang galit ko. Hey, you did this, ganyan, ganyan.
You ratted him out.
No. But because I told the girl of what happened, parang nagets niya kung sino yun.
Right.
Kasi siya yung nakakita or
Right,
whatever.
right.
Yeah.
Pero kung ako yung nag-cheat, I mean, I wouldn't go after the friend already. Kasi mali ko na yun eh. Like, it's my own doing.
Yeah, but I'm sure she had her own internal justification of why it was okay.
It's never okay if you cheat for me. No matter how crazy you put it.
Nagpaparinig ka ba?
Oh, if you cheat on me, you know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna snip something out.
Sige. Sa akin, meron akong epoxy. Ipa-plug ko yan.
This is getting too intimate, guys. But yeah, grabe no, like even in relationships, even if it's a past relationship, a toxic one can really like traumatize you, affect you in so many ways.
Oh, yeah.
Like people who are in your life really affect you without you even knowing it. Like for example, let's say I'm a certain way now, tapos may problema tayo. And then
Yes.
parang we backtrack. Like let's say I go to a therapist and then we backtrack. More often than not, it's something that happened in my childhood, something that happened like I was traumatized by a friend or a lover or whatever. Like, and we realize it after the fact na. Like, as our lives go on and we take an introspective look back at our lives, doon natin malalaman like, this person pala did this to me. I experienced this pala and I'm affected in this way now. The people that we surround ourselves with really affect us.
Yeah, I think so. Or even may mga teasing and bullying when we were younger, it really affects us subconsciously. Even though at that time, hindi natin alam na binubully na pala tayo.
Yeah.
Diba?
Like, let's say, my sister always tells me to stop calling Scotty fat because she wants to build a positive body image for Scott. But I mean, Scott doesn't understand what I'm saying now. And I'm calling him fat, like, because it's adorable. Not for anything to shame him or what. But
Yeah.
I do understand, like, where she's coming from, no? Like, if you always say, na, stop eating na, yung taba-taba mo na. Bakit? Masama ba maging mataba? Diba?
I would say from a health perspective, dapat ano din, like you
I
take
mean,
care of
you're
yourself.
parang kailangan ng affirmations, kailangan positive yung body image nila. Hindi yun, okay, I won't eat na lang forever because I don't want to be fat. I want to be skinny. I want to be sexy. I want to be like a Kardashian. I want to be, you know what? Like, it's a downward spiral. So we really have to be careful about the things that we say Especially around kids. Because formative years yun eh, di ba? And they respect your whatever you say. Syempre,
Yes.
parang mabigat yung mga sinasabi mo.
But it's okay when we're in a controlled environment like our home. Pagdating sa mga pagdala mo sa anak mo sa parents' house mo or grandparents niya, tas they talk a certain way or act a certain way. Syempre, iba din yung sa isip mo na dapat, di ba? For example, ayaw mo nang bigyan ng candy yung anak mo. Tapos pagdating doon, yung lola niya, oh, candy, eat all you can.
Yeah.
Hindi mo makokontrol, di ba? So you can only control it to a certain extent talaga.
Yeah, that's true. We can't be like the helicopter mom, like, no candy forever. But yeah, grabe, toxic people in your life. You don't want to be the toxic parent. That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't want to fight in front of Scotty, although we don't really fight, but like if ever we do fight, like a major one, we should never do it in front of Scott, I feel. Because, for example, let's say you roll your eyes at me or you disrespect me or like you parang make it seem like whatever I say has no importance. And then Scott sees that growing up. Like it always happens.
Magagaya mo talaga.
He won't take me seriously too because it's okay, daddy's doing it din pala.
Yeah, or if you see, like for example, if my dad disrespected a certain family member, parang ako din mawawala din yung respeto ko sa kanya or whatever.
Like it's okay because you look up to the people who are older than you in your family, right? And you follow subconsciously even though you don't know. Like for example, in my family, like we're sometimes very sarcastic. You know that. And
yep.
And it's because that's the humor that we grew up with, right? Subconsciously lang. Or you know how like sometimes kids around us, like your sister's kid, parang, how did she learn how to say that? Who taught her how to say that? And it's YouTube.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how come she knows all these kikai phrases?
Because I follow Chrissy on YouTube.
No, it's not me, but it's like all these shows on YouTube and subconsciously, parang it gets into their system and it never leaves.
Yun ba yung sinasabi nila na if a kid watches Peppa Pig all the time, parang nagiging may attitude sila.
I heard that too.
Because Peppa Pig, parang
may attitude
siya sa parents niya. Parang ganyan ba yun? I don't watch it, but I've heard of...
I've heard of that also, but more I've noticed when watching Peppa Pig is they end up having a British accent.
Oo.
Mommy!
meron akong pamangkin na watches, sino yung train?
Train.
Di ba may train dati? Yung parang clay na train.
I don't know.
British din. Basta so, British din yung accent niya. Like yung English niya. Which is, it's how we're influenced talaga.
Yeah, like my sister, Jack, we always joke that she was raised by the television because my parents put her on the TV all the time, which obviously now we know is not correct. But at that time, like obviously we didn't know that. And so she has all of these pop culture references. Her humor is different because syempre, if you hang out with friends all the time or like people in the Philippines, your humor will be like Philippine humor in our local community. But siya kasi parang laging TV lang. So yung humor niya, pang US din. Kasi that's the shows that she watches, di ba?
Yeah.
Di ba? And then she has all of these like, ang galing niya to make sarcastic comments, to reference pop culture na, sino yan? Di natin kilala. Or yung mga ads ng US, like, iba talaga yung influence sa kanya. Iba, parang sobrang iba namin in that sense.
I guess what we're trying to say is that be careful of the people who we surround ourselves with. We should be careful of the people around us.
And we should also be careful of who we can possibly influence. Yeah.
But tama yung mga advice that you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with most.
Yes.
And I feel that's very true.
Yeah.
Because your mindset, your thinking, your jokes, your ambitions are all dictated by the people you're closest with.
Yeah.
Kasi, for example, sa barkada namin, let's say, mahilig kami uminom. Most likely, lahat ng nasa barkada, mahilig uminom.
Yeah.
Diba?
Or if your barkada is all go-getters, parang we all have a goal, we all wanna like be CEOs or make money or whatever, syempre nadadala ka rin. And I saw that firsthand with another group of friends na parang everyone was really out to make money. And now, like, looking from the outside, parang yung isa nakasama namin na before, hindi naman ganun. Sobrang successful niya na rin ngayon.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. You really are the sum total of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
But,
and I also, go ahead.
Mayroon akong add-on with that. Because right now, in the digital age, hindi lang the people you hang out with, but the content you consume also.
Yeah.
And depending on the people you listen to, if you're listening to Chris and Slater,
Maging okay ka sa life.
mahilig ka sa banana.
Oh my God, we have influenced so many people to buy bananas.
Oo, dapat may sponsor na tayo na banana. No? Isang truckload of banana.
Prutasan, please.
Prutasan ni Chrissy.
Anyway.
Yeah, so when I am in a mood where I want to start a new business, for example, I surround myself with content that's all about business. I listen to the mentors. So the people you surround yourself with can either be real people, or if you don't have access to them, pwede siyang magiging parang
people you follow online.
People you admire and
Right.
you look up to.
Right.
Like, mahilig ako sa design ng Apple products and how they do marketing and how they conceptualize things. So I read the biography of
Steve
Jobs, or like innovation, Elon Musk, or sino-sino pa to sila. So parang na-absorb mo yung the way they think, and
Right.
what you realize is they're actually just human.
Right.
When you read biographies, nakikita mo yung journey of their breaks, the people that helped them.
Right.
They didn't do it on their own. They weren't born with something like extra special and unattainable.
Yeah, right. Like, when I read the biography of Michelle Obama, that was true. Or like the Nike guy, Shoe Dog, Phil Knight.
Did you read that?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
And or like the Shopify guy, the guy who invented Shopify, right?
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
A lot of people that we can really look up to. And it's true, like, for example, now I have cousins who live in the States, and now it's so popular in the States, the Kardashians, right? And then when they got to a certain age, I noticed, obviously, like, my reaction, interpretation of them, or like my observation is from a distance because I don't live there. I only see them sometimes. But I really noticed na, 11 years old, gusto na magpa-shave ng legs? Or like the way they talk, like, parang, it's okay to sound stupid. Parang,
Nagbago na rin yung beauty concept of beauty.
Yeah, like from super stick, thin, skinny, like supermodel Kate Moss levels, naging curvy, bootylicious, long hair.
You're right about the way they talk also.
Yeah.
Like the thing about being famous for just being famous.
And these are kids. So, sobrang dali nila ma-mold. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, grabe talaga. I was really like surprised that parang there are no Kardashians in their lives. They're surrounded by a Filipino community, basically. Their school is multicultural. Ang dami nilang different races in school. And yet they act like Kardashians. So I'm shocked. Like, wow, the influence, no?
Yeah, of course. But I think a certain it says a lot about what their culture is as America as a whole, sabihin natin. Generalizing here, but just like in the Philippines, we have certain popular shows. It says a lot about
the culture of the Philippines.
What types of things we admire.
Right.
And what types of things that
we like
taboo.
comedy. We like emotional scenes, dramas, right?
Yes. Mahilig tayo sa stories of like yung mga normal people rising up from the ashes.
From the ashes.
So parang nakikita natin na, Filipinos, pwede siyang interpreted as, we have a lot of hardships in our lives, that's why we like comedy. Pwedeng ganyan. Or that's why we admire the rags to riches stories.
Right.
Diba?
Right.
So it can be an interpretation of what that means, the culture.
And going back to what I said earlier, like the things that we like, for example, comedy or drama or rags to riches stories, these are based on the things we experienced in our lives when we were younger. So everything is really like how our environment or the people around us, they influence us, and in the future, that's why we're like that. You know what I mean? Does it make sense to you?
Yung mga past na mga culture natin nag-influence sa atin, so the future generation becomes like that.
Yeah,
also.
just like if we always fight in front of Scott and Scott ends up like being a nasty person or whatever, it's because of us that we influenced him, right? What he likes, what he becomes will be greatly affected by how we are as people.
Of course.
And similarly to your story, why we like comedy, why we like hardships, it's because of what we grew up with. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah.
And it's not just comedy, it's the type of comedy that we like. Diba sa
Slapstick
British,
humor,
gusto nila yung parang very dry humor,
right.
or yung mga sarcastic humor.
Yeah.
Dito parang gusto natin na magaan lang na humor.
Like someone dancing kenkoy or...
Yeah. And I think I really feel like it's because we're stressed more than most countries.
You don't want to think. Ayaw natin mag-isip. Ano ba meaning ng joke
Just like
na yan?
you. Gusto, anong hilig mo ngayon? Bling, ano yun? Bling Empire.
No, it's so funny. On Netflix now, we usually watch something on the heavier side because Slater likes the action, the drama.
Like Homeland, House of Cards.
Right. And then my friend texted me, hey, you should really watch Bling Empire. It's so funny. So I watched it one night and it's so like funny and like kind of stupid. And it entertains me because sometimes after a long day,
you just don't want to think
I don't
anymore.
want to think. And I don't want to like, sometimes when we're watching Homeland, I can't sleep because I'm thinking, what is Carrie Matheson gonna do? Like, it stresses me out.
And this is where I feel like there's a big difference in how our mind works. Ikaw, you can just commit to like believing the story.
Of course.
Ako is like, I'm breaking down a lot of things. Kung napansin mo,
Yes.
ang ganda ng lighting.
Yeah, oh my God, this guy can't act. Why is he there? Oh, there's a flaw in this, like, no continuity.
Walang continuity. Naka-button up yung shirt niya kanina. Tapos next scene, hindi na naka-button up. Anong nangyari?
But for me, there's beauty in just getting lost in the show. You know what I mean? Even
But
if it's
maybe
cartoons.
it's because na-experience ko na yung side of filming, of filmmaking.
I've experienced that side also. I
Yung
mean,
mga
not to the
teleserye,
extent
mga-
that you have.
Yeah.
But grabe lang. I've always been like that naman.
It's like me watching a magic show and then trying to break down what is really happening instead of being immersed in the magic show.
Right.
I think that's our biggest difference. Like, we were watching, I remember, yung Shark na show.
Jaws.
No, something, so airplane. And you were,
I cried. The Blake Lively one.
Yeah, the Blake Lively one, a surfer siya, and then my shark na stuck on a rock siya for a long time.
Yeah, she's trying to avoid the shark. Oh my God, I cried.
Yeah, grabe siya. Like, every
always
time
cry.
she sees blood, like, blood! Oh no! She's gonna get eaten. Like,
Hindi
ako.
ang saya.
Yeah, pero
Ang
sa
saya ng
isip
show.
ko, starring yan, hindi rin mamamatay.
Masyado kang critical. Enjoy mo lang yung moment.
Pareho kami sa dad ko, like, imposible. Siya lang isa, tapos 5 yung kalaban niya, nananalo pa siya.
Alam mo ba, love? Minsan, ignorance is bliss. Totoo yan. Di ba? Wala akong alam sa continuity, wala akong alam sa lighting, wala akong alam sa acting.
Yes.
So when I look at the show, I enjoy it no matter how badly it's produced. I really enjoy it.
Yeah,
diba? Ignorance is bliss
but
sometimes.
I really do enjoy it also. And I get to appreciate the more technical side of things.
Right.
Like some, ano yung chess na show?
Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit was shot really, really well. And grabe yung lighting, grabe yung mga cameras, grabe yung color. Sobrang ganda. Like, from my perspective, maybe this is how mga directors and cinematographers also watch a movie, I
Right.
feel.
It's what sets them apart from the normal hoi polloi like me.
Oh,
I'm
like,
hoi polloi.
like, pag nakikita mo yung mga cameras, like, paano nila galing sa 4th floor, na-follow nila going down yung tao? Parang,
I know the scene you're referring
hinulog ba
to.
nila yung camera from the floor to like, tas continuous pa yung shot? Yung mga ganyan, yung nasa isip ko, ay, parang may rope siguro to, tapos may naghihila sa baba. Ganyan yung nasa isip ko.
Grabe siya, grabe. Iba yung utak niya.
Oo. Mahilig ako sa yung mga the making of...
Yeah.
Like, for example, The Matrix, di ba, naka-suit yung mga kalaban niya. So, in The Matrix, di ba, parang green yung tint lahat.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's green because it's color-graded green. Parang may green na filter. But to help everything out, everything is slightly green. Even if it looks as if it shouldn't be green. Like, for example, naka-suit siya, and yung white t-shirt niya is not actually white in real life. slightly tinted green. You're looking at me as like, that's so nerdy.
Yeah, I'm looking at him like, I don't care. Yeah. But it's true. Sometimes you really end up, like, for example, have you ever looked at a beautiful photo? Like, let's say it's a photo of a leopard. And then you just look at it in a Photoshop and you're like, okay, leopard. Or you just see it in a flashcard or a postcard, leopard, snow leopard. And then when we watch that show, na how they actually took that photo, na a guy had to camp out in the like middle of nowhere for 4 months.
No, 4 months. For 2 years.
2 years. 2 years siya
to get
mag-isa.
a 2-minute?
In a box.
Literally
in a box. He had to poop in a hole and eat canned goods for 2 years. Hide in a box in the middle of nowhere.
This was a Siberian tiger, I think.
And then just to get that one shot that you see on a postcard, basically.
Yeah.
Isn't that like, that? When I saw that, parang mind-blowing.
Yeah. I like those kinds of things, like the reality behind it. That's why I like documentaries.
Right. Or like how when we set up for filming YouTube, like a lot of people think, like for example, your mom, like, oh, you're busy pala. Like, mahirap pala mag-shoot ng YouTube video.
Yeah.
And just later and like, when people send us like stuff to post, we're like, no, I don't want to shoot anymore. I don't want to set up anymore.
But you're right about the influence. I think I got it from my father. Because when we were younger, we always watched documentaries and mga nature shows. Like when we were in Africa, nagulat ako na ang sobrang dami kong alam.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, do you
Why
know
do you know
that
so
a
much
lion,
about animals?
hindi yung male lion, hindi yung nag-hunt, yung girl lion, yung lioness yung nag-hunt. And then
Remember
they
when-
sleep most of the day. Wait, why do I know these things?
Yeah. You know things that, like, you innately know them. And I don't know anything, especially when it comes to, like, nature stuff. Because I was raised in my family, we're not so into nature. we're indoors people.
You're city people.
We're city people. And so I remember when we were in Africa and we saw a lion and I got so excited.
Oh,
I was
grabe.
like, lion! And then I grabbed my camera and like leapt out, like half of my body leapt out of the car just to take a photo. And the driver screamed at me like, sit back down!
Kasi yung lion, parang nagulat yung lion. Kasi wild to ng mga animals.
Yeah, it's not a zoo. It's like literally in the wild.
Like they will eat you.
And so, like, if you make any sudden movements or any sudden noises, they will freak out and they will attack you. And I didn't know that, but for some reason, Slater knew that. It's so weird.
I knew that because the tour guide told us beforehand.
Really? He did?
Oo, sinabi niya.
I was so excited.
Like apparently, guys, they can see the car as one animal.
Right.
So if things move inside, parang magtataka sila kung bakit.
They can't distinguish the people inside the car from the car itself. They think the car is an animal.
Like maybe a buffalo or whatever.
Because
diba?
they see the car always, like, circling the perimeter, you know.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Africa for me was very
Life-changing.
life-changing. Because sobrang mahal.
But so worth it though.
Yeah, I think mas na-appreciate mo yung circle of life. You're not, like, I feel like there's something healing about being in nature.
Yeah, like sometimes when you're in the city and you're so caught up with all the things you have to do, your deadlines, your work, your problems, making money, your family, whatever, parang stepping out of that into a completely different world, like Lion King levels world, where everything's just dirt and survive, like kill or be killed, basically.
Oh, like how brutal nature is.
Yeah, how brutal nature is and how like all these things that we're so stressed about in the grand scheme of things is really so inconsequential.
Yeah. I remember, like, back to Africa, I remember we wanted to see a crocodile eat like one of the wildebeests.
Yes, because we went during the Great Migration.
So
and so there were
nagko-cross
so
sila ng
many
river.
wildebeest crossing the river.
And, I want to see a kill. I want to see a kill.
Go, crocodile!
Crocodile.
Eat it! Sige na, go!
Nung nakain niya, parang, oh my God, kawawa.
Yeah, like all of us were cheering for it to happen. And when the crocodile finally bit the wildebeest, everyone just fell silent. Like, oh shit. That's gotta hurt. But grabe. It puts things into perspective, no?
Yeah. And that's why I also like watching nature documentaries.
Why?
Parang it feels comforting because it was always playing in the background when we were younger. My dad couldn't sleep without watching TV, and his favorite shows would be Discovery Channel, puro mga documentaries. So, like when we were in our apartment, so maliit lang yung room namin. We only had 2 rooms and we'd sleep sa room ng dad ko. And yun talaga, yung panaginip ko every night is mga crocodiles because, di ba, parang subconsciously pumapasok sa'yo.
Right. So it's really, the influence is grabe.
Oo. Like, mahilig ako sa pistol shooting or competitive shooting. My dad pa rin yun.
Right.
Or, yeah, a lot of things.
So my question is, what if you are stuck, especially now, because we're all kind of stuck in our homes. What if you're stuck at home or wherever you are with a toxic person or a person like...
Ang hirap niyan.
Yeah. I mean, if my question were, what if you're stuck in a relationship with a toxic person? You can just leave. It's fine. It's so easy. But what if like it's a family member that's toxic and you can't leave?
Yeah.
What would you do?
Ang hirap niyan kasi, di ba, we were talking about it's so hard to change people. I think the older you get
Or impossible to change pa. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to come from him mismo. I mean, like for example, ako, sobrang mahilig ako, let's say for example, mahilig ako sa mga cameras and tools. It's so hard to get that out of your system.
Like I can't just one day say, can you stop it with the cameras? Throw all your cameras away.
Like I remember when I was researching about cameras and you were discouraging me from buying because you wanted to surprise me with one.
Right.
Pero ako sobrang gigil ko na I have to buy this, I have to buy this.
And everyone around him was telling him, don't buy it muna. Like even our editor was like, bro, we can use all your other camera gear.
Yeah.
The editor's like, no, I need to have the best. It's this, it's that. I was like, love, wait until next year. It's 2 more weeks. Ayaw niya talaga. I'm like,
no.
How can I surprise this guy? Bibili na niya bukas. My God.
No, I actually tried for like 2 weeks before that na parang, sige, I'll settle with this na. And then,
settle, ang ganda-ganda ng mga camera mo.
No, di ba? Now, I'll settle with the old cameras that you used to use. Remember? Yung mga DSLR cameras. So, parang, sige na, I'll settle with this na. But at the same time, parang nagpa-pop up palagi since nag-research na ako eh.
Sa YouTube.
So every time I open my YouTube app, wow, this camera is so good. This camera is so good. This camera is so good. Ay, parang influenced pa rin. Hashtag YouTube made me
clear
buy it.
history ang ginawa ko pala.
I think ganyan talaga, especially pag nakita mo sa YouTube that itong gear na to, ni-review ng lahat ng mga tech reviewers that you look up to.
Yeah.
And then, paulit-ulit the same things. Like, this is the one to get. This is the one to get. Oh. And then, nakikita mo pa lahat ng mga, you know, when it's time to upgrade, biglang bumabagal yung phone mo.
That's really you. Okay, I never. No.
Like we kind of logicalize it, even if there's no logic to it.
No talaga. Ikaw yun.
Like,
Hindi ako.
I made, kailangan talaga. Ay, kasi para mas maganda yung quality ko, mas marami akong trabaho, or mas mape-present ko yung ideas ko more because I have good, like like I'm saying this, that you find reasons for your behavior, even if it's backwards rationalizing it.
Right. You're justifying it.
Justifying
even to yourself.
Yeah, so even though if this is a small, fairly inconsequential and fairly innocent habit.
Right.
Or like,
For cameras.
What if it's someone who's just so used to negativity, like
anger.
And when you try to talk to them,
stressed.
syempre, sila din, nag-justify din sila.
Right, exactly.
And they really believe it.
Exactly.
They really believe it.
Yeah.
When they behave badly, it's so hard for you to get into their heads to actually change. Like, we know someone like this. We were arguing with that someone yesterday na parang, no, this is the sister of this. No. And hindi siya talaga nakikinig. Hindi yun sinabi ko. And that's not the sister of that person. That's not who I was talking about. But that's exactly who we were talking about.
Especially if that person is someone so close to you. Parang hindi na siya nakikinig sa'yo kasi lagi na kayong magkasama. You know what I mean? Whereas, let's say, you are the toxic person, right? Let's say I'm the toxic person.
Yes.
I'm super annoying. If Slater tells me, like, love, you're so annoying. You're doing A, B, C, D, E. Like, sobrang annoying mo talaga. Syempre, I'm gonna say, ikaw annoying, hindi ako. ginawa ko to kasi A, B, C, D, E, ganyan. But if it's a completely different person, diba, who tells me, if it's a lot of different people who tells me na,
because you're fairly, I would say,
you know
open-minded.
Chris, you know what? Parang if a lot of people tell you na, and hindi kayo close, for me, mas makinig ako.
Really?
Diba?
Depending on the person siguro. Because we've tried talking to like really, really close friends. Like,
Yun na nga kung close mo, kasi minsan, if the person talking to you is someone close to you, you tend to like make it baliwala easier.
no, but just like for example, someone in your barkada is misbehaving or someone in your barkada is doing something he's embarrassing himself and he doesn't see it.
Yeah.
Kakausapin mo niyo sa entire barkada. Most likely, or well, we've tried this from experience, like, na-embarrass lang siya and he starts not hanging out with the barkada even though nahihiya tuloy siya.
Even if the intentions were good.
Even if the intentions were good, our intentions for telling him was because
people were talking about him na.
like if we're not the ones to say this, sino pa ba?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, let's say I'm really super annoying and then somebody from our outside circle tells me, kasi parang may trigger yan na, wow, napansin mo, ganun ba talaga ako ka-annoying? Kasi minsan na nga lang tayo magkasama. Diba? Tapos outsider ka na
Yeah.
So, iba na to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then another person na naman, and another person, ganyan. So like, for example, what I'm saying is, we were talking about how do you change someone who's a toxic person but is a constant in your life. Maybe hindi ikaw dapat ang mag-change sa kanya. Maybe there needs to be like an outside factor. Kasi I know how hard it is to change someone close to you.
It's super hard, I think. Yeah.
So are you saying, or am I saying, that it's out of our hands?
Ako, to be honest, especially when it comes to younger people, I feel like it's easier. To older people, like we're talking about our fathers or our lolos or our lolas, parang they're so set in their ways na parang kailangan mo na lang i-accept. Because wala na like parang pagbigyan na lang natin.
Right.
Like, wala na talaga tayong magawa.
Yeah.
Like, we'll love them for who they are na lang.
Tayo na lang mag-adjust.
Tayo na, adjust ka na lang.
Yeah.
Unless they realize that they're doing something wrong. Or we were
And it's
talking
hard
about,
hard to make someone realize, no?
My father was talking about how some of his siblings are parang afraid of flying. No matter what they do, hindi talaga. They'd rather have a overnight road trip to Cebu than just flying a plane. Parang ganyan.
Yeah, but similarly, I know someone, a mom of my friend, who was also so scared of flying. Like, will never fly more than 2 hours on a plane, even though she's she's made of money, basically. Yeah. And then it took something so massive an experience for her to change her mind. It was actually like the death of her son.
Oh, nakailangan na talaga.
Nakailangan kasi they had to get treatment elsewhere. So parang na-force siya to fly. And then she realized like, oh, it's not so bad after all. And then plus the son pa loved flying. So parang a major life moment can change you.
And I think it's sometimes just our habits. When we were growing up, you were talking about how we surround ourselves with people and how habits grow. Like, paminsan, hindi ko alam kung bakit hate ko tong thing na to.
Yeah.
Like tomatoes. Sabihin natin.
Yeah.
I don't really like tomatoes. But hindi naman siya...
It's not yucky.
It's not yucky, but parang...
But
I just
why?
grew up not eating tomatoes.
Because your dad doesn't like tomatoes.
And I don't know, but maybe it's just because when we were growing up, we had, or maybe kami lahat sa siblings namin, hindi namin alam. So, hindi kami kumakain ng tomatoes. So, kami sabay-sabay kami hindi kumakain ng tomatoes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's just like a force of habit.
Yeah. And it's really important, the influence you surround yourself with, the people, the shows, the podcasts. Everything that you consume now, everything that you allow yourself to be exposed to can change you, right? It can change, like, once a seed is planted, once a thought is in your head, that's it. It can change you. You can choose what you want to do with it. Either you let it change you or you dismiss it. But once that thought is there, it's there. So once a moment happens, once you see a show, once you consume this type of behavior or, Instagram post, you choose what you consume, right? And once you consume all of these things, there is really a possibility that can change you. Because sometimes you're thinking like, I'm just gonna watch the Kardashians because like, I'm sure it's not gonna change me. I'm smart enough to know the difference. Pero no it can really affect you. You know what I'm getting at?
Meron kang even subconsciously.
Subconsciously.
Be careful of the things you absorb.
Right.
The energy you surround yourself with.
Yes, the energy.
If parang it's just like watching a scary movie. After watching it, parang you're kind of afraid of.
You're watching your back.
You're
leaving the door open.
I watch a scary movie, parang when I was younger, and I wash my face, sabihin natin. And I always expect that when I look up in the mirror, merong
there's a ghost
tao sa likod. Or when I'm driving home, merong taong nakaupo sa likod.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sometimes it's harmless, but there are a lot of times that the things we consume really, really affect us. That's why I try to consume things that are self-helpy.
Right.
But again, it's kanya-kanya pa rin. It's like sa hilig mo.
Right.
Diba?
Kaya, that's why I avoid gossip sites. Kasi parang yung energy, right? Like, you're just talking about someone behind their back. And you're guessing what happened. And when you read the comments, it's all hate. Like, why would you want to surround yourself with that? Like, your life is so precious, your time is so precious. Bakit ba? Right? Or yung mga fake news, my gosh.
I was watching like Rappler or mga Inquirer or whatever mga Instagram news channels are there, ABS. I follow them for the news, but whenever I read comments, it's usually just hate comments all the time.
It's so sad.
Like, oh, this guy is now the girlfriend of this. And sa baba, who cares? Why are you posting this? Parang, oh.
Why? Yeah. If you have nothing good to say, don't say it na lang.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we should have dinner na.
I know. I'm hungry. I was wondering kanina, because your setup is so nice already. If they could hear my tummy going meow, meow, meow.
Paano?
Vocalize na naman. Okay. Good night, guys.
Good night.